Hey everyone, this is Fabio and welcome back. And as promised yesterday evening, since that was the last time I made a video, it's quite unusual for me to make two videos in not even a day, but as promised, today we're going to do a game discussion video on the latest game that I beat yesterday evening. And the game is none other than The Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel, by those fantastic guys at Falcon, brought us to here in Europe by NIS, not by Exit. That's something that it's not that I don't mind. I don't really mind, but I would have preferred to have my Exit logo on it rather than NIS, since I like Exit better than NIS. But apart from that, Trails of Cold Steel, the first installment of the Sen no Kiseki trilogy, as it is known in Japan, part of this massive saga that the Kiseki, the Trails of series, it's becoming this behemoth of a game saga, which started, as we all know, with Trails in the Sky, continued with the so-called Crossbell saga series. I don't know if it has its own specific name, and it is continuing in Japan with, and now here, with the Trails of Cold Steel series that known in Japan as Sen no Kiseki. And it also makes me curious about the future of the series, since in Japan they're making Sen no Kiseki 3, that I presume is the last of this series, and my hope is that they will continue with the Trails of series, or even conclude with a trilogy based in the Calvard Republic, because if you think about it, it makes sense since that it's a major part of that country is a major part of these stories. But apart from that, I'm already going on a tangent here, since I love this series so much, as you can possibly say by looking at my stupid face. I'm really happy to have played Trails of Cold Steel, because I just finished Trails in the Sky second chapter like a month ago or something, and I immediately started another Legend of Heroes game. These games are big. It took me 73 hours to beat second chapter. Now it took me 75 hours to beat Trails of Cold Steel. I haven't done such like big RPGs marathon in a long time, and I cannot be happier, since I love the Legend of Heroes games. I love this series. It's no wonder that since I've discovered it thanks to the PSP and the first Trails in the Sky, it has become one of my favorite RPG series of all time. No questions there. I mean, these games are so good. But let's try to go with some sort of order, because I can lost myself into various tangents. Since as I said, I just finished the game yesterday evening. I'm still processing all that I saw and happened, which is a lot, of course. But Trails of Cold Steel takes place in the Erebonia Empire, part of this Zemuria, I think it's called, continent, which is the setting of the Trails of series. The first part, the Trails in the Sky trilogy, takes place in Liberl, this smaller kingdom. The second part, the Crossbell saga, takes place in the state of Crossbell, hence the name. Now this takes place in Erebonia. And you take your main character, your protagonist is Rin Schwarzer, a cadet at this military school, this military academy of Thors, founded by this legendary figure in the Empire, this Emperor Drykis, I think it's called, or something like that. Forgive my pronunciation. Some names were quite out there. And you are one of the candidates for this sort of experimental class called Class 7. Experimental in the sense that it's different from all the rest of the school, for reasons that I will not tell you for avoid spoilers. Even though it's something that the reason of existence of this class, it's revealed pretty earlier in the game. I still don't want to talk about that. But let's just say that in the course of the story of the game, you and your fellow classmates will take part into field studies. So you travel around Erebonia in order to perform quests, missions, and at the same time get a feeling of how the situation in the Empire is, because it's much more unstable than we might believe. since there are a strong contrast between two factions, one led by the great aristocratic families called the noble faction, and one led by the chancellor called the reformist faction. And basically the whole story is focused about on this the tensions between these two factions, which is very interesting because I'd probably be the only one to say this. So I haven't seen any discussion videos on this yet. I will soon, but I particularly like these kind of things. I like when in science fiction or fantasy the creators explain and talk about these political things, the political situation of these imaginary countries, or in science fiction these galaxies. It's something that I always loved since ever. Like, it's one of the reasons why I love the prequel trilogy of Star Wars. Like, I remember saying this, friends of mine were like, really, you like that? I mean, yeah, I love this. Isn't it great that episode 1 starts because of taxation? That's fantastic. All jokes aside. And I like this because I think it kind of gives more life to this universe. It's, at least for me, it's easier to get more involved into this. I just find it interesting. I like this kind of stuff in books, in movies, in video games. And Treasure Coast Studio is no exception. I really like this idea because it almost made me think about, like, well, what this, like, the conclusion of a field quest, of a field study, will mean with all these tensions, and what will happen if this would actually be true, and like, oh my god, so we're getting that direction towards the end. Like, yeah, the ending, of course, I'm not talking about it. It's, wow, it was pretty insane, and damn this Legend of Heroes games with their cliffhangers at the end. Yes, this game, of course, has kind of a big cliffhanger, I say. I don't know if it's as such a, like, gut punch, a punch in your guts, like Trace in the Sky first chapter, because that was, wow, you all know that. But this was really intense, I'll say, because something happened, and then something else happened, and then something else happened, and even something else happened. It was crazy. It's such a crescendo of this insanity in a best possible way, because I couldn't believe, especially the really, really last moments, I couldn't believe that happened. I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. But don't want to talk too much about it because I might slip some spoilers here and there, since, as you know, this game is pretty new in terms of release here in the West. So let's just move to another part of this, which are, of course, the characters. And I really like these characters, all of them. Some, I'll say I like them more than others, but of course that's just a matter of preference, my own. But I really like this cast of characters, starting from the main character, Ringschwarzer. I think that, like, other companies, especially Square Enix, should really should be taking notes of how to make great characters from Falcom, because just look at the main characters of games like Final Fantasy X and 12. I mean, oh boy, where should we start with Tidus and Van? Look at the Legend of Heroes games. I mean, from Reen, Estelle, and Joshua. From the Gagab games, I like those characters. While playing a game like Final Fantasy X or 12, you say, okay, these guys are not the main protagonists. They're absolute useless. But apart from that, as I said, not only the main character was great. I really liked Reen. I really connect with him. But the rest of the cast, because your classmates, I don't want to call them secondary, because they're very well developed. So, sort of co-protagonists to this story. And there are, I think by the end you have around 11 or 12 classmates, including yourself, but 11 or 12 classmates. And I'm thinking about which of all of these will be my favorites, and personally, I really, really like Laura, but a personal favorite of mine was, of course, I mean, Instructor Sarah. I mean, she was just amazing. I loved her. She was so much fun, and but also she's extremely powerful, as you will suspect. But I mean, she was just coming with jokes and innuendos and stuff like that. It was amazing, and I love this. Is might be a small spoiler, but I cannot resist. I love when at the school dance. Yes, there's a dance. Um, she she's invited to dance with Laura's father. I don't know if it's the canon for all possibilities. I have no idea. Just play this, just finish it. But I love that when he he asked her like, "Would you like to dance? Will you give me the honor?" And they like, "Oh, he's just my type." It's just so much fun. I love Sarah. She's a lot of fun. But all like your classmates, as I say, I really like Laura, but I like all of them. I mean, Fee, she's really cool. Alisa, Machias, Eustace, Gaius, all of them. If I have to say, there are two characters that I like a little less than the others, but it's not just like, oh, I didn't like them. It's just like the way I like a certain like video game characters or stuff like that. They were just a bit inferior for certain things. Maybe they were just like. But in terms like these characters I'm talking about are Elliot and Emma. They're cool and likable characters. I'm not saying that they suck. They really suck. I don't like them. It's just like the way they act or the way they talk with you. It's just like I want a bit more decision. I don't know. It's just they didn't click with me as much as the other. While, for example, I like with Laura, it's from the first moment I say, oh yeah, she's amazing. With Alisa, I really like her. With Fee, she's awesome. And with the other, like, yeah, he's good, but not as cool as the other. In fact, I didn't use them as much as the other characters. But also, the reason why I call them like co-protagonists is the fact that they're very, very well developed, and they're not just on the sides like other secondary characters or stuff like that. I mean, their development and the stories connected with them, it's very important. It's the basically it forms this frame of these big stories. I mean, the relationship between these characters is extremely important for the development both of the story and of Reen, of course, since also for the combat, we will talk in a second. It's very important to bond with your classmates, and it's mainly something that you do since, of course, as I said, the story takes place in a school, in this military academy. You also have 3 days. You're not at school all the time, and during these days you do some side quests for the student council of the school, but you also have some bonding points which are very important in order to bond with your classmates, and with a higher link level you can perform combos together in combat. So let's just move and talk about the battle system of this game, since I'm getting in that direction. And this is another thing that I love about Trails of Cold Steel, for the simple reason that, aside for the graphical improvement, to me at least, this game didn't have as many differences with the Trails in the Sky. I mean, it was basically as playing Second Chapter to me. A prettier looking version of Second Chapter. But the combat, it's basically the same of the Legend of Heroes games, and I loved it because it's also one of those series that shows that you don't need to constantly reinventing the wheel, and that's something I really appreciate, because for me, as I was saying with my discussion of Second Chapter, turn-based, it's still the best way to do combat in RPGs. There's nothing you can do for me. You can try to create the strangest, weirdest, and convoluted combat system you like. Nothing will ever top traditional turn-based. Trails of Cold Steel, of course, being a Legend of Heroes game, also it's actually this sort of hybrid between turn-based and strategy RPG combat, which is perfection to me. But as I said, it's basically the same as second chapter. So if you play those games, it's just like fitting into a glove, a well-worn glove, I'll say, since they only had a certain thing, and that is, of course, the link system, in order to, like, not having the same exact combat system. Of course, a game should evolve or something. But that's the main difference, other than the graphics. Um, the link system is what really the main difference between Trails of Cold Steel and Second Chapter to me, since I haven't played the crossbow games. Well, technically I have Zero no Kiseki, but it's in Japanese, and I'm not that brave to play a potentially 70 hours RPG in Japanese. I know that RPGs Wagman, Wanderer from the Past to the Past actually did that, but I don't know if I can do that. But the link system is very interesting, and it's very important in order to do as best as possible in combat, since the stronger bonds your characters have, of course, the better link they have, so they can perform more combos, which of course inflict more damages to the enemies. Because this game is not easy, but I didn't find it as hard as I not thought, because honestly I played on normal. I don't mind that. I don't have to prove anything to anyone. I like to enjoy my games. So I died a couple of times here and there, but not so often. I mean, of course, with the two main final battles, I died once, but then even without resetting with lower difficulty, I managed to beat both those bosses, very hard ones. I have to lower the difficulty in battles only on a couple of times, not too special. But yeah, the link system, it's a very interesting innovation to the Legend of Heroes combat system, since basically in battle you can link two characters with each other, since you have a front line of 4 characters, so you can link 2 of them together. And when you hit an enemy, you can trigger this attack with another character. The higher link you have, you can perform more attacks. So you have the assist, the link, and the rush, and another one which I cannot remember. So basically, it's one additional hit. The basic one is one additional hit from your partner. The second one is basically a sort of combo with your 2 characters. So in total, you give 3 hits or something. And the last one is with all the 4 characters together, which is really cool, and inflicts a lot of damage. So, but for the rest, the combat system is the same as Trace in the Sky. There is the skills with the S rank skill. There are the arts, of course. So the orbs section is still there, like in Trace in the Sky, with the addition, I think, of the master orbs. Which is really cool. I almost collect all of them, with the exception of one, which pisses me off that I couldn't get all of them. But I also try to upgrade these master orbs as much as possible. And if you're not familiar with the orb system of Trace in the Sky, it's basically similar to the materia system in Final Fantasy VII, which is easily one of the best things of that game. But slightly different, in terms that every character in this is equipped with this thing called Arcus, which is a sort of cell phone, basically. It's funny, all this technology that they have in this Legend of Heroes game is connected with this orbal energy. So you have orbal radio, orbal cars, orbal tanks, orbal phones. It was kind of funny, I think. It's kind of corny, but also funny. And of course you have to positioning these orbs into this sort of grid in order to obtain bonuses or additional magic, stats upgrades, and stuff like that. So it's really nice. I love this system since the first Trace in the Sky. And it's a sort of staple of the Legend of Heroes, of the Trails of series, and of course you don't have this in the Galgap games. And I think that's it for the battle system. I don't know what else to say. And let's just move to another, obviously, a very important factor in a Legend of Heroes Trails of game, and that is, of course, the music. The soundtrack of Treasure Cold Steel, it's really, really damn good. I mean, I really like this music. And as I said before, it kinda, in a way, making me regretting not buying the special edition. As you can see, I got the regular one because I was in a hurry to play this. And I already decided that when Treasure Cold Steel 2 will be released, since it is coming, for what I read, Exceed already finished the translation. They're working on editing now. So I think this game is supposed to come this year, which is phenomenal. So, lost my train of thought. Oh. Yeah, I didn't get the special edition. There you go. But still, I know that this Legend of Heroes music, it's quite available on eBay and stuff, but it's quite expensive. So we'll see. But in the future, I will definitely buy the soundtrack because it is amazing. I mean, with all these Falcon games, there is, other than the game, it's fantastic that there's also the waiting for the new soundtrack. This the JDK music, it's so fantastically amazing that it's also like, oh, I cannot wait to listen to the music of this. It's something that was always there since the Ys games to the Legend of Heroes games. It's, at the end of the day, maybe I prefer Ys soundtrack because they're a bit more rockish and adventurous in a way, but this Legend of Heroes soundtrack is so cool. I mean, they're very varied. That's the thing. Maybe even a bit more than Ys, if maybe, because like you have very rockish and energetic music for combat. You have more somber theme for more dramatic or tense moments. You have very nice and almost ballad kind of music for a more, for example, romantic situation or something like that. So you have a lot of variety, but they're all so good. And I don't know which one might be my favorite because there's so many great music. But maybe the sort of boss battle theme, the one also when you open the chests with enemies inside, mainly because of the violin. Among JDK music, I particularly like the violin. I cannot remember a name, like Mizu something. Sorry, I don't remember. But since the Ys days, I always love the music with the violin in the JDK music. It's fantastic. But I love this sensation, that this feeling that every time I'm playing a Falcon game, I'm also super hyped for the music, and I always wanted to buy the soundtrack. So I'm definitely gonna get the soundtrack of Treasure Cold Steel in the future, just like I want to buy more Ys soundtrack in the future. So we'll see what I get. But yeah, Treasure Cold Steel, fantastic, fantastic game. I mean, if you like RPGs, this is a no-brainer. Of course, it's my favorite game on the Vita. No surprise there, since I love RPGs. But playing this right after second chapter, which, as I said, these are big games. I don't have much free time on my own, but every moment that I was free, basically at night most of the time, but also like when I was traveling by bus to get to work, I always brought my Vita with me, so I can play maybe for 30 minutes, for an hour, 2 hours maybe if I was lucky, before going to sleep, because playing Treasure Cold Steel while you're in bed, it makes you forget to go to sleep, basically. Most of the times I play that, I'm like, oh shit, it's 2:30. I should wake up at 8. I have to wake up early tomorrow. So, but it was totally worth it. I mean, this is such a great game. And I cannot say, like, maybe it's my favorite Legend of Heroes game, because I love all of them equally. It's impossible for me to say, but definitely another brick in the wall was saying that Legend of Heroes is definitely one of my favorite RPG series now. And man, the quality of these games, I mean, this to me is like another perfect RPG experience. I'm not afraid to say that it's perfect to me, because of what I want from a game. Treasure Cold Steel delivered completely. A great story, great characters with great development, and and really nice interaction with each other, and possibly also replayability, because of course you can, I suppose, interact more with certain characters than other. Like, as I said, I personally choose to interact the most with Laura because I really like her. But I saw that I have a lot of possibilities actually. So who knows? I will replay this. we'll see because it's really big. But also, like, outstanding music. I mean, what else do you want? The combat is a lot of fun. I love this combat system, so it was no problem for me playing these massive games one after the other. And in both cases, I didn't even do everything. I mean, I heard this, like, there is a trophy. I don't care about trophies very much, but I saw one in Treasure Cold Steel that if you play for more than 100 hours, they'll give you that. I mean, boy, that's a lot. And I've played for 75 hours, and I did a lot, even though not everything, but still a lot. Like most quests, try to get as much orbs as I can. I didn't mess too much with the recipes because I don't really care. I didn't fish too much because I don't really care, even though I tried sometimes and it's quite fun. But we'll see. I'm sure that we'll play it again. But absolutely, Treasure Cold Steel, phenomenal game. Of course, I forgot to say, but it's also available on PS3. But in all honesty, why bother? Get it on the Vita. It's portable like this. I don't understand. Of course, I mean, they had to make a PS3 version. If not, sales will not be great on the Vita, unfortunately, because it's the Vita. But just like with second chapter, Treasure Cold Steel, I hope for both Exceed and Falcom, of course, but mainly Exceed, that sales are as good as possible for them, because sales are instrumental on getting these games. Since I was talking about all the games before, but as you know, like the Trace in the Sky, it's a trilogy, of course, and we got 2 out of 3. We missed the Crossbow series, and that's one thing I was almost forgetting. With Treasure Cold Steel, a thing that was really cool but also very annoying at the same time is the constant references to the other games. There's plenty of returning characters. It's something great about this game. I cannot believe I almost forgot. But also, like, this other reference. Can you believe what happened in Crossbow? Have you been to Crossbow? Have you heard from Crossbow? I mean, God, crap! I haven't played those games. Stop torturing me. But seeing returning characters, like, I don't think it's a big spoiler, but Oliver is a big character in this game. Unfortunately, you don't play as him for obvious reasons, as you will see. But is amazing like always. Not as fun in the Trace in the Sky game, but for a reason again, of course. But sometimes he said something that you say, oh, he's back. At least for now. But also other characters that I really didn't expect to see are back. And who knows, maybe... I didn't see Estelle or Joshua or something. I don't know if they're supposed to be in the game. I don't think so. I mean, I think they're mentioned, if I remember well, at one point. But, like, there's a lot of reference to Ouroboros, of course. Just saying that. Yeah, the references to the rest of the series. I love how connected these games are. I mean, fantastic series and an amazing addition. I mean, fantastic game. I don't know how many good things I can say about Treasure Cold Steel. Can probably go tangent with all possible things with characters and stuff, but I'll just stop here because I think I said enough for now. So, massive, ginormous recommendation. If you haven't picked Treasure Cold Steel, definitely do it because it's such a great RPG. Fantastic RPG for Vita and PS3. I don't know if it's on Steam or will be on Steam or PC. I think so. At least that it will come there, but at the moment I don't know. Honestly, I don't remember. But seriously, guys, play Treasure Cold Steel. It's fantastic. And with this wisdom from myself, I'm just gonna go. Thanks so much for watching, like always, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.